Hey friends, Audrey here. I hope you're doing well. I'm so excited to talk to you today about this topic of recentering after you've been feeling lost or overwhelmed. Because we all know that even if you don't have a dumpster fire year like 2020, it seems like every time we check something off our list, we have to add three more things to it. So I don't want you to let that growing to do list stop you from feeling fulfilled, feeling at peace, and knowing what you're going to be doing going forward. So burn that to-do list. Literally, that is fun if you literally burn it, but don't go into starting any fires or anything. So, like outside of a burn pit or something. So anyway, I want to talk to you about this idea of recentering. And it's something that's come up not only for me because of recovering from COVID and having crazy deadlines. I set up a pre-order through Amazon for my book Ruin the Girls. And and then of course COVID and like the pandemic, the shutdowns, kids being home. My kids are 5 and 6, and I have two stepdaughters and a mother-in-law and her dog and two cats. So it's a lot. Anyway, but point being is that a lot of things happened, and then I got COVID, and right before I had my initial deadline, and I didn't realize because the first time I set up a pre-order and had to move it back, I know you can move it back once, but I didn't realize it's only 30 days you can move it back. So that means I got crazy deadlines. But when we're talking about getting past that and recentering, it really comes down to taking my current to-do list, and which is on that sliding glass door behind me. I actually like writing on that with my dry erase markers, and it gets cleaned a lot more. But anyway, so whether it's a physical to-do list or it's on a dry erase board or sliding glass doors, I like to take that completely, erase it to start with. And then before we even do our brain dump, and hopefully you've heard me talk about the brain dump, if not, I'll explain it. But one thing we really have to sit down and do is something I was introduced to from Shailene Johnson's push journals, which I really love. They're pretty, but because they weren't really geared towards the writing life, they were kind of open ended, and I didn't feel the direction I needed. And shameless self promo here, but that's why I created my planner, because of that. And another, like Carrie Green, I love her, but her plan was like over $100 with shipping and conversion rate and all that. And I was like, no, it's not even like geared for it's not even like specifically for the writing life, you know? So come here. Oh, I think my kitty wants to play. Yes, there is a car racetrack behind me. But anyway, so I really like Harry Greens, but it sold out anyway. And I was like, that's okay. I'm going to create my own. So in a crazy, sleepless 2-week period, I breathed, ate, and slept, creating my first planner, which was the 2018 Authors Journal, which is now the dated yearly Authors Planner. So 2021 coming up, 2021 Authors Planner, and the Ultimate Authorship Planner if you don't like your planners dated. So from that, I was able to really get centered and actually find something I could use. But along that journey of kind of discovering myself and what helps me, I stumbled across Shailene Johnson's push journals, which, like I said, they're pretty. I like them. They introduce some new concepts to me. And one thing she has you do, I don't know if this is original to her, but I'm just sharing what my experience was with it, is she has you go through, and they're like month by month. You get them in a 90-day pack or a 3-month pack. But month by month, you go through and you actually evaluate the areas of your life. So your environment, I'm stuck in this house, so I have to evaluate that. Your mental and emotional health, your physical health, your spiritual health, and even if you're not religious, just like how you feel about those things. Your job, your hobby, like for us, writing isn't a hobby. We're serious about this, but yeah, so writing for me, and then other things like family and your relationship with your spouse or partner if you have one, and then you evaluate these different areas of your life and you give them a number from like 1 to 10, and you one is like I'm not fulfilled, and 10 is like I'm very fulfilled. And it's been years since I looked at these things, so wording may have changed, or I may not be remembering the wording exactly, but the basic concept there is that you sit down and you evaluate these different areas of your life. And I really like that. I think that is so helpful, especially when we're talking about coming out of feeling lost or overwhelmed in our writing lives, especially, but our entire life affects our writing lives, right? We know that to be true. We had to put on our oxygen mask so we can help others and help ourselves. So anyway, but yes, I love that concept. And that is what I would challenge you to do, is think about all the areas of your life before you do your writing down. Think about all the areas of your life, give it a number rating. You can make up your own scale if you want, and then take whatever one is the lowest and say, that's what I should focus on this month. Now, that's the idea that, that push journal puts forward, is that you should just, tackle whichever one is the lowest. But I'm recording this in November, of course, and I'm like, it's NaNoWriMo. I don't care which one is the lowest. Nothing takes over NaNoWriMo for so many writers. Not all writers, not most writers, but for many of us, the number one thing is writing during November. That's our big deal. So I don't think that's always right. I think sometimes we have to gauge based on context of when and where we are in our lives. And sometimes my spiritual health is very low. I have personally like a lot of existential crises. So, going on in my head. But that doesn't mean that that's the thing I need to stop and do. I know that's very important for most people. For me, it comes and goes in waves. So, but when I have a deadline and I need to focus on that, that is really what's most important to me, because my writing is an integral part of my life. I'm either editing, I'm writing, or sometimes I'm reading and helping my friends and being part of their lives too. If you know, I run the Author Transformation Alliance and the Prince and Spirits free writing group, and those are crucial to my feeling like I am doing enough in the community to help other people. So anyway, those things add up to how I'm feeling about my life, and how I'm feeling about my life directly reflects into my feelings about spirituality. So for me, even if that has the lowest number on the day that I do that, it's typically not going to get the top priority. Now, there are some times when it's going to, like probably February, March is when I really sit down, and I have my kind of yearly cycle down of my highs and lows and what I like to focus on. December is my reading and self-care month, post now, or post graduate degree last year. But yeah, it's something that is different for everybody. But I go through and I know that my self-care month is December, so that I can focus on family and refilling all of my wells. I need to refill my wells so that I can better take care of my family, take care of my fellow writers, and like serve and give back and help uplift other people. And my cat's back there, she's so cute. But I know that these are things that I need to do. So December, I'm going to probably write. There's a very small chance that I completely won't write. I have lots of projects in queue. I have covers that need to go on the books and get out in the world. I love covers so much. I love buying covers. But anyway, so there's a lot to do, really. Anyway, but I, sit down and evaluate exactly where I am in all these areas. And if, the environment thing is really important to me, because there's a certain level, there's a line of acceptable mess when you have this many people in one house, especially two kids like 5 and 6 years old and a 13-year-old, sorry, she's 13. But there is then that other side of the line where it's like, oh my gosh, this place needs to be sanitized. And then we go through that. So I actually kind of go through this on a weekly basis when I am completing, and let me show you. I actually go through this on a weekly basis when I go through and I complete my planner pages. So I will sit down and say, how am I feeling about my house, and kind of do like a mental check. But it's really helpful if you use kind of some pretty note paper or something and you write that down. How am I feeling about my house, my family, my physical health, my mental health, spiritual health, and kind of just tick through these things. And the one that you need, the more you need to fill more, will become apparent. And there can be a lot of things. Like you may have three things that rate a 4, 3, or 4, but one of those things is going to be in context more important to you. So if with a deadline, have a very close looming deadline, my score for my writing life goes down because of, I need to hit that deadline to feel fulfilled in that area. I need to make sure that I'm honoring my readers and putting out my best work possible so that I can feel fulfilled in that area. So even though I could have like my spiritual health is a 4, my physical health is a 4, I need to see a doctor before I can even do anything about that. And then my writing is a 4. Guess what? One gets priority, not all three of them. I had to pick one, and because of my deadline and the context of my current situation, the writing gets my full attention. So kind of like that, do that, go through and evaluate. You can do it on a monthly basis. I like to kind of review these things on a weekly basis. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I can't operate in the house until we reorganize things, because things don't stay organized the way I put them. That's okay. It's life. But, we can reorganize and get all the windows cleaned, or, decorate or do something, But once that's done, if I know that getting that done is going to help me work more, then I'll put that at the top of the list so that I can work with more peace, more mental peace, and not be like, oh, I have to write, but I also have to do dishes, or I also have to mop the floors, or something like that. It can be really frustrating to try to juggle all of this on your own, but sometimes if you just get that thing done real quick, then you can move on to that other thing that's really important, like my deadline. My deadline for my thriller. So kind of think about that, go through and evaluate your life, whether you do it monthly or weekly. Kind of evaluate the areas of your life and what needs the most attention. And it's okay if plans change. It's okay if your goals have to evolve so that you can take care of yourself. I set goals in the beginning of the year with my planner, my beautiful, lovely planner that I love so much. So I set my goals in the beginning of the year with this, and I set my quarterly goals, and then I kind of lay them out in the months, and by monthly goals with a release map and everything that's in there. And I outline all my projects and when I'm going to work on them. And if that changes, I have learned to roll with the punches or bend with the wind. It is life, and things just don't go to plan, and that's okay. That doesn't mean I'm not going to write them down. I have to have a target to aim for. I was in the military, so I love, me personally, not all people do who are in the military, I love marksmanship. I really do. I love going to the range, and I mean, how can you get better at something if you don't have anything to aim at? How can I have a goal of I want to be a best-selling author if I'm not taking aim at those milestones that will get me there? So, we can't. But just because we write a plan down doesn't mean it's written in stone, and that if we don't hit our milestones at the time we decided, arbitrarily decided that would be the right time, that doesn't mean that we're failing. That is not a marker of failure. That is a marker of needing improvement. Needing improvement is far different than failing. Failing means you give up and you don't do it anymore, okay? Or some other variation of a definition of that. But the most important thing to remember, that not hitting your goals doesn't mean failure. And with that in mind, we can move on to how to get recentered. So once you've done the evaluation, once you've remembered that your goals are, and yeah, my nails are not done. Not that put together. That's okay. So, but once we've done that, and once we've thought about how our goals are not immovable objects, they are targets that we are taking aim at and we're getting better at hitting, okay? There are very few people that can hit that 300-meter target right off the bat with no training. It takes training. You're not going to go run a 5K and with a really good time if you've never done it before, if you've never run, if you haven't been training to do that, it's highly unlikely. So you need to think about your intangible goals the same way. It takes training, and it takes practice, and it takes a lot of dedication to learn how to reach that thing you are aiming for. Okay. So anyway, once you've done that, once you've gotten through that mental part, then we do our brain dump. And so erase all your lists. I know it's a scary prospect because you're like, oh, if I lose something important. And there's something that Stephen King said in On Writing about the reason he doesn't write down ideas, which I don't necessarily agree with because my head is teeming with ideas. And my head is also going like 100 miles an hour, like my thoughts, and they're intertwining, and I might have ADHD. I don't know. And I'm not making light of that at all. It's just that when people who have been diagnosed with it describe their symptoms, I'm like, ooh. So anyway, but I have a lot going on, so I do write things down. But one thing I agree with is, or I kind of apply that advice to, is your to-do list. If it's really important, you will remember what you need to do. If it's really important, like a deadline, it will be in your calendar anyway. But all this crap on our to-do list does not need to necessarily be there. So what you have to do is erase it, burn it, whatever you have to do to get rid of it, delete it, hit that backspace key or delete key, and then go ahead and start new. So brain dump is you sit down, and I like doing this with a pen and a piece of paper, but some people like to do it digitally. So you sit down and you write every single thing that's on your mind, not just writing related. Write down literally all the things you have to do until there's nothing left that you can think of. And it sounds like it's going to be a lot, and it might be a lot, but the benefit of doing this is exponential. You're going to get so much out of doing this. And I know my color's a little wonky because the sun's coming in more and more, but bear with me. So I'm almost finished here. So do your brain dump. Keep writing down things that you think you have to do or you should do or you could do that would make you feel better, like rearrange the closet, whatever. Like I said, it can be writing related or not. Think of everything and keep writing until you have nothing, absolutely nothing left up here to write down that you think you have to do or should do, whatever. So once you've done that, you're going to take a highlighter and you're going to highlight just 5 things from that list. Okay? 5 things. And then you're going to prioritize them because not everything can be a priority. One thing can be the priority. Okay? And actually number them. First thing that has to be done. And sometimes you pick the first thing that has to be done based on how quickly you can get it done. So if it's in that top 5, and then you say, oh my gosh, if I just sat down and did this, it would take 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Make that number 1 and get it done, because that dopamine hit from checking that off your list, like physically taking a pen and crossing it out, or a nice Sharpie and crossing it out, that little dopamine hit is going to help fuel your fire for your productivity and to keep getting stuff done. Oh man, well, I really need to do the dishes. Well, just do it real quick so you can, put it on your list so you can check it off and feel that little dopamine rush from getting it done, okay? And getting to check another thing off your list and see you knocking down targets, okay? That is what it is. That's how we're going to treat it. You see a target, do the dishes or write this blog post real quick. Bam, knock it down, knock it down, knock it down, knock it down, okay? No waiting, no saying, well, I have to write this book and it's going to take, I have this short deadline, so everything else has to fall for the wayside. Guess what? We know that doesn't work well. We know there's other things we have to do. So anyway, once you've done that, once you prioritize them 1 through 5, get a whole new blank piece of paper, right? And put those top 5 in order on that piece of paper. And then when you're done with all of those things, all 5 of those things, not 6, not 8, not 10, 5, then guess what you can do? Once you're done with all of them, not with, oh, I'm going to be done with 1 and add another one for my list. Nope. You have to wait till you're done with all 5 of those things before you can do this next step. You're going to brain dump again, okay? And it seems like, oh, I'm going to do this every day. No. You're going to do this like 2 or 3 times until you get the hang of where you are and where you want to go and what activities are going to get you there. Okay, so do not worry that this is going to be like an everything day where you have to brain dump, because you're going to start seeing a pattern in what makes the list. You're going to see a pattern on what is actually going to move the needle forward in your writing life and in your life around you. What's going to make your life better? There's going to be a pattern on what makes your brain dump and then what makes those top five. Okay, and you don't, that doesn't mean you have to get 5 things done in a day. You can take all week to get those 5 things done if you have to, or all month, whatever it is. But those top 5 things should represent what's really going to make a difference in your life, in your writing life, in your family, in your head, in your body. What is it? Whatever it is, those top 5 things better be things that actually make a difference, that actually deserve your time. All right, guys, I have gone on too long, but I really hope this is helpful. If you want a cheat sheet, just leave me a comment and like and subscribe, turn on the notifications if you can. I don't like to post fluff, so I will do my best to always provide you stuff that, like videos that actually help you. This is something that I've been talking about with a lot of people, so I figured this would be helpful to more than just me and this person and this person. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is something a lot of people are thinking about. And that's what I tend to do. When I find a topic that a lot of people are kind of resonating with, I will bring it here to you. So notifications, and you won't get bombarded. And I will see you later. Bye.